resignation sebab I lost 1 week because of I had to do practical visit. Number one. Number two, next week on Thursday we don't have class. Okay, saya kira kepinginan untuk kursus. Okay, so kursus hari Khamis dan Jumaat. Jadi itulah tiba-tiba hilang lagi satu hari. Jadi and I tend to do it on Tuesdays. Jadi dua kali Tuesday lagi. Tetapi tiba-tiba esok pula saya kena jadi review untuk benda. Jadi senang cerita banyak betul dalam ini. Jadi I have to change it. Jadi I think this is a blessing for you. Okay. Jadi for that we need to do presentation still. Okay. But it will be a recorded presentation. Okay. You give me your recordings. And you will be evaluated based on your individual performance during the recordings. Okay. Jadi kalau kawan nak bagus, this will be like 100% presentation. Kalau dapat markah 1 tu maksudnya anda kayu. Kayu apa kayu? Tapi ada kata kalau dapat 5 tu maksud bagus untuk berusi lah. Kalau dapat 3 tu maksudnya anda okey juga. Okey, faham kan? Kalau 2 tu borderline kayu. Jadi macam tu lah. Okay, so the due date will be on 27. Okay, 27 of June. Okay, itu tarikh akhir untuk hantar the presentation video. I think that's ample time for you to do the recording. Betul? Bukan nak sesuatu esok. Sebab untuk dengar. Okay, that's number 1. Okay, number 2. Let's take a look at your syllabus. Okay, jadi we still cover this one, introduction, self-confidence. The timing of money. The timing of money we will do today. Kita cover timing of money hari ini. Okay, and then corporate finance model kita dah buat dah. Cash kita buat pro forma. Okay, pro forma dah ada. Kita ada target tu ada 3 video recording saja. Lepas tu semua ada lah. Point valuation. Dah 100 kali belajar lah kan. Finding equity valuation utama. Okay. So this one dah cover. Portfolio model. Okay, this one cover juga. Option pricing model. Okay. So we just have another 3 meetings. Jadi itu one saja. One is to be, which is how to cover time of money, and another 2. Thursday is Monday next week. Okay, which I will cover option pricing. Okay, option pricing. Jadi lepas tu visual basic. Macam biasa kalau tak sempat, visual basic tak sempat. Okay. Now regarding the group project. Okay, the group project. Okay, you have one individual assignment. Now, remember that I try to make your life easier. Your friend in another class will be susah. Okay. Jadi, for group project, you will still remember the group project that you did. Betul? The marks was what? 25. Betul? Okay, I say that the marks is 25. But then we will have another small group project. Okay. The AI thing. Betul? Jadi, the AI thing tukar, dia akan jadi individual project. Okay, individual project 10 marks. Okay. Lepas tu the group project will be increased to 30%. And I think 30% is fair because the amount of work that you have to do for that group project is a lot. You spend a lot of time doing that. Sangat banyak. At this stage you should have done so many portfolio, portfolio. Siapa yang Excel sangkut tu, saya tak tahu mana. Saya beli PC pun sangkut bila dalam Excel. Dan tukar dari 1,000. dia tak ada langsung. Okay? Tak ada berapa. Tak ada langsung quiz. No quiz at all. Jadi you will have 2 quizzes at the final week of the semester. It will be online. It will be one whole day lah. Kalau open it maybe 8 in the morning. So buka sampai 11:30 malam. You just have to answer it then lah. Okay? The person that I will ask, most likely, most likely will be true and false plus some multiple choice questions. Okay, it will be that. Quiz is 15 marks. The whole quiz. Okay, so for AI, it will be individual assignment. Okay, individual assignment. Okay, for that one, I realized that masa korang bersyukur before the exam, before the hari raya Ailadha, saya tak raya, tak boleh nombor raya, saya raya kat sini je. Aku kerja mana? As a matter of fact, raya pertama lepas malam raya tapi Aman Center. Sebab apa? Sebab kedai makan yang buka Aman Center. Dan saya tak nak buat kerja gitu. Saya kata, I want to do any work today. Just want to berehat. Dia baca buku. Sebab kampung dekat di sini. Okay, kampung buat ke dekat kami tunggu lah. Itu tak balik juga. Okay, lepas dari history lah. Okay, kamu orang cerita. Cakap apa ni? Sekarang itu, pasal tu, okay. I organized a workshop with some teachers on AI. So we did a workshop and I realized something. For me, this is easy, but for a lot of people out there, it is hard. It is hard to even to understand to design a prompt, a good prompt. Jadi susah punya nak buat prompt yang baik. Jadi for that reason, I have created a prompt that will guide you on how to create a prompt. So basically, the prompt that I prepared is something. I will create a short video, a short recording of that. I will share with you the prompt, which will help me to create a prompt. Okay? So the idea is like this. In the prompt, okay, I have trained it so that it create that. Okay? And it will be AI. We just have to attach the file. Once you attach the file, we just have to. It is designed for DeepSeek. Okay? Attach the file and then just say that read this properly. No? Enter. Ulang lagi AI kan? Jangan buat menulis. Okay, and then enter. Lepas tu, the AI will read the file properly, and if the AI read your file properly, what will happen is that you will be asked questions by the AI. AI itu akan bertanyakan soalan. Okay, there will be, I think, 11 questions. Okay? It will be there. I think there will be 11 questions on what you want to do. Basically, what are the prompts, what are the skill files that you want to create. Jadi contoh, for your assignment, for your individual assignment, you need to design a prompt. Okay, that is meant untuk extract financial information from annual report. Okay, that is the prompt. Okay? And so, if you go through the question asked by AI, tapi you must be honest and you must know what you want to extract. Contoh soalan-soalan yang akan ditanya, sekat saya, will you use comprehensive income ataupun yang company ataupun group punya value. Kan dalam group dengan company kan, then you say that you must be clear, you must use group. Okay. Contoh, what kind of data that you want to extract from the report. what are the items, this and that, you need to refer to the pro forma statement. Pro forma that we learned dalam this one. Contoh macam ni. Okay, contoh the item that you want to extract, contoh. Okay, these are the items. So you need to list down. You need to list down the item. For income statement, these are the items that you want. And for balance sheet, these are the items that you want. Okay, you can even ask the AI to extract the debt to equity ratio or target for it. Target kita sendiri the debt to equity ratio for instance. So whatever information that you want to extract, you can ask the AI to do so. Okay, however, what differentiates from a good prompt and not a good prompt is that when you say this, you must be very clear as well. Okay, contoh, kata, you must say, for example, for dividend paid is basically whatever dividend that the company pay, and then the retained earnings is basically the difference between profit after tax and dividend paid. Contoh, you have to be clear. Kalau tidak, the AI will assume that they try to start getting so many different type of information from your report. Jadi it might not be accurate. So you need to be very clear on what you want to find. Contoh kalau macam ni, yang ni kan, kalau dah, I hope that you have watched the recordings. Kalau tak watch recordings, nasib baik. So macam ni, this is what we call the plug variable. In this one, I use that as a plug variable. Okay, so if, for example, let's say you want to use that, contoh, want to use that as the plug variable, you can only say that, hey, use that as a plug variable. Ataupun, tapi dalam extracting data, you tak sesuai dengan that. Maybe you letak other debt or other liability as plug variable. Jadi be creative lah, creative. But I will evaluate, I will remember that this is 10 marks. This is the individual sample, it is 10 marks. Kalau dapat 1 atau 2 tu, maksudnya your prompt is very bad. Okay? I will use your prompt and I will extract the information. So the deliverables, maksudnya benda yang kena hantar, ada 2. So once you receive the prompt, once you got the prompt from AI, you need to test it. Okay? You need to test it. I will teach you also how to test it. Okay? You need to test it properly. And then after you test it, okay, you need to copy the prompt that you got from your AI and paste it on a notepad. Okay? A notepad. Jadi, kena hantar for the individual assignment submission, you need to send 2 files. One is the notepad containing the prompt. Number 2, I want to send the annual report. Satu annual report. Which year you use as your point of reference. Contoh kalau contoh annual report IJM. Okay, IJM. IJM Plantation 2025. Okay, contoh. So you need to attach those as well. Jadi I will test the performance of the AI based on that. Okay, clear? Jadi kalau dapat 1, 2 tu maksudnya your AI did not perform well. Okay? Kalau dapat makan 4, 5 atau 6, so you have to put this okay. But let's say your AI is like very good, you might get marks of 8 to 10. Okay, clear? Okay. Jadi I want it to be detailed as possible. In the exam, but I will provide you simple recording, short recordings on how to use it. Okay? Clear? Ada soalan? Tanya? Okay. Nanti yang baru datang ni tanya kawan-kawan apa yang dah berlaku. Okay? Okay. Okay, regarding final exam. Soalan kita masa tak So these are some tips. Okay? So arahan nila. Tarik submit, okay. Tarik submit individual assignment sama macam tarik submit video ni. Okay, so we have video ni. 27 hari bulan, so 20 hari, 2 minggu. 7 hari bulan. Oh, 7 hari bulan, 1 hari. 1 7 hari bulan Jun. Dan untuk jadi video assignment. Okay, tips, finance and tips. Okay, we have 4 questions. Question 1, 2, 3, 4. Each question will give you 25 marks. Okay, for the first question, we will be asked exam basics. Okay, exam basics. So basically the standard formula, average, IFLA, sum. Okay, so you can look at past question and see how it is tested. Okay, rule number 1. But of course, the question might be complex. Okay, of course, some question will be asking you basics of formula, but after that we give a combination of formula. A combination of formula. Contoh, average combined with if, average if. Okay, contoh count dan if. Sum dan if jadi sum if. Contoh. Okay, ini contoh, bukan spesifik tua. Okay, look at past years to help you get some idea. Okay, but like last year, I also allowed you will also reward marks in case you cannot type the formula properly. Okay, memang susah untuk student dapat formula yang kompleks betul. So alternatively, we also allow you for some questions, not all questions. Okay? Some questions you will be stated in the question where you can use pivot table. Okay? You can use pivot table to help you to get the answer for the question. Okay? So because pivot table is actually you can use combination of formulas. Macam tu kan? Study lah. Ajar pivot table kan? Ajar. So macam tu. Jadi let's say ada 4 soalan dalam essay. Ada 4 soalan dalam question 1. Let's say 2 soalan dia kata you can use pivot table to show your workings. So 2 soalan ni satu pivot table untuk satu soalan. Satu pivot table untuk satu soalan. So that's how. Kalau contoh let's say you just use one pivot table and you expect me to give you answer. Even though you give me the right answer, you get 0. Because I will take that pivot table as your workings, as your formula. Ingat kan? Dalam financial modeling, we mark you based on the formula that you write. Okay, on Excel. Bukan we mark you based on the formula. Bukannya jawapan betul. Jawapan you can copy paste tak value kan? Formula itu. Okay, that's question number 1. Question number 2. So question number 2 is basically your group assignment. So if you know how to do your group assignment from scratch, when I say from scratch, you will be given, for example, stock price as the beginning. Then from there you just have to process it all the way to become a portfolio. Okay? Become a portfolio. Ini pun ada kurang 4 portfolio that you have to calculate, and then you also have to plot the graph. Okay? This graph. And then question 3 would be basically pro forma. Okay, pro forma. If you watch the recordings, you should be able to answer it. Okay, it is pro forma plus sensitivity analysis. Okay, it is not exactly like, of course, the question will be very. Okay, for example, rather than asking you sensitivity analysis, which we ask to give you what happened during boom, recession, normal, rather than that, it might be a plot twist. Okay? Okay, the thing that you learn from sensitivity analysis actually using the scenario analysis function dalam Excel, scenario analysis. So something like that. Okay, if you can familiarize yourself with those, it should be okay. You should be able to answer question 3. Okay, lastly, question 4. So question 4 would be on option pricing. Option pricing. You will be given a set of data. Okay, and questions. Lepas tu, as usual, you have to find the solve answer question. Okay, faham? You will be on option pricing. Okay, detail daripada tu saya tak cakap lah. Tapi, you as usual, for question 1 and question 3, for this topic, again, soalan takkan sama. I'm telling you how to practice. Okay? Soalan memang takkan sama. Saya nak tulis memang kita orang kelompok soalan tu macam-macam bentuk atau lain. Okay, but to practice, you can try look at past years. Okay? Past year you can get from every website. But the one that you will see in the past year questions, you akan nampak soalan tu dalam PDF. Betul? Soalan tu dalam PDF. Untuk soalan 1, soalan 3 di semester. Normally, you can answer it straight away. Macam dulu sebab the data is given and then you can practice. But for questions like question 2 and question 4, it will be based on the given data. Data tu banyak, data tu besar, banyak data. So, the data will be given in appendix. Appendix is in Excel, and Excel will be given in Excel. Jadi masa pada exam nanti, you will get one soalan final exam dalam bentuk kertas, you get that. Okay. Lepas tu, you will also receive the question in PDF format. You will. And you will also receive the question, you will also see an appendix. Appendix tu ada formula simple. Formula tak ada apa satu. I forgot which formula given. Formula that shows that. Tapi option pricing dalam formula. So kita save dia formula tu bagi. So formula tu tak ada lagi. Appendix akan diberi lah. Okay. Lepas tu, and you will be given answer template. Okay, answer template means that you have to answer on that Excel. You will be given that Excel and you have to answer on that Excel. Clear ya? Okay, jadi in that template akan ada appendix as well pada lampiran. Okay, in that appendix you will have, and using the appendix you can answer question 1 and question 2 and question 4. Okay? Itu ada juga. So that's the format. Clear? Did I give you the actual questions? The answer is no. Good. But I give you some hint on what you expect to see in the final exam. Tak adalah terkejut. Okay, tak adalah terkejut. Ya Allah. Respon nombor 1, ya Allah. Ini lecture tak ada. Okay, as usual. Okay, so you have to watch this properly. You know, the performer, the sensitivity analysis, and I think you will be sorted. Okay. So historically, ini secara sejarah, how well did our students perform during the final exam? I'll give you the okay. The lowest 8 ke 100. Okay. Of course gagal. Bawah 20% memang gagal. Kita tak start. Nombor terus ada, 14 terus ada, small expect. So we can't expect everyone to berusaha setengah for granted. Other courses you can, you might be able to pass, not this course. Itu satu, kedua, the average dulu slightly below 40%. Okay, 100 markah. 100 markah, 1 markah tu sudah dapat bawah sedikit daripada 40% ataupun lebih kurang 40%. The average for the class. Okay, itu apa? Tetapi okay, that was dulu. Okay, lepas tu tulisan lain, starting from last semester, we decided to make it slightly easier. Okay, slightly easier. For example, rather than 5 questions, we condense it to become 4 questions. Lepas tu soalan tu kurang sedikit. Jadi when we did that, alhamdulillah, the average rather than 40%, it become 50% lah. 50% dia okay lah. If you want to get an A, kena expect kurang pun dapat 70 at least 70. Okay, at least 70. Tapi kalau contoh isi financial 70%. Tapi individual assignment kena akan faham? Okay, jadi kalau betul, so final exam 70% biasa boleh score. Okay, what about the highest marks ever? The highest marks ever for my student, but this my student, 93%. Okay, bawah sikit itu 92%. Okay, siapa dapat 93%, your senior, still here, you buka file. Another one, itu was Gabriel. Dia buka PPE. Dia buka PPE. Dapat 92%. Nanti clear. So far so good. Okay. Jadi, I'm telling you, it's not impossible. Boleh. Saya lepas ramai juga ni. So, move on. Okay, contoh. Untuk soalan macam proforma. Okay. Still on final exam. Untuk contoh macam soalan proforma. Okay, you know the proforma we have income statement and balance sheet. Okay, then you do this and then you got the answer bawah tu. Okay, the problem is that once this one is wrong, the rest will be wrong as well. Setuju? Okay, you satu salah sikit, tapi dia akan affect everything and then everything will be wrong lah. Okay. But the way I mark is that we look at the formula rather than the answer. Okay, rather than the actual answer. Answer kurang mungkin lain, tapi the formula is correct. If the formula is correct, we will give you the marks. Okay, the marks as well. Contoh macam total liability and equity contoh kat balance sheet. How you do it? You do the sum of asset, the sum of debt plus common stocks plus retained earnings. So we tambah lain. Then you got formula. The answer might be wrong, okay, because your account tak balance semua. Okay, but still you got the answer because your formula is correct. Okay, so that's how it's done. Ada apa soalan before we belajar the time management? Soalan? Ada? Okay, boleh. Soalan tak ada lagi. Tak. Kau tak? Negeri Sembilan. Kau tak terlibat dengan krisis Negeri Sembilan. Okay, so this is amortization schedule. So, buka. Kita scan attendance dia. Scan attendance. boleh membantu. Oh, boleh Allah. Did you receive announcement regarding the venue for your final exam? Untuk this course? Kali itu saya cakap exam kat mana? Bangun sebelah kan? Bangun sebelah kan? Okay. Sudah bertukar ni. And I think you can check it dekat sistem. Yang orang kata orang B, orang A cakap. Untuk saya, that STML Lab akan renovate. Okay, akan renovate jadi tak boleh pakai lab tu. Kalau nak upgrade something lah. Jadi because that one cannot be used, they will transfer exam to TISA punya lab. Okay, TISA atau TISA? Okay, county lah. Kita county. Bilik mana satu saya tak pasti. Tapi salah satu computer lab lah. Okay. Jadi masa hari exam tu financial modeling akan ada 4 kelas. Lepas tu ada 2 kelas daripada School of Computing tu. Semua banyak student. Okay. Pakai laptop sendiri. This semester masih pakai laptop sendiri. InsyaAllah starting next semester akan pakai PC yang beli. Semester tu korang boleh serahkan. Jangan lupa bila buat, please do not rely on autosave. Okay, do not rely on autosave. Jangan berani harap autosave ke. Practice yourself tekan Control S. Bersusah pun Control S. Sini S. Save. Okay. Rajin-rajin 2 minit sekali Control S. 2 minit sekali Control S. Faham? Save. Okay. Kita tak nak ada masalah. Tetapi dalam exam, biasanya what I do, sometimes ada for 1 hour, following announcement, okay, everyone, please save your work right now. Okay, so you guys remember that. Exam sebenarnya tak susah, tapi yang susah itu adalah research time. Masa tak cukup. Okay, jadi this is okay. I have given you the tips, and by now you should know that this is time of money. Time of money will be tested in final exam, so obviously, and this is not this semester. But what I'm teaching you right now is actually important untuk hidup kita. Okay. Dan satu lagi untuk show off dekat dunia. Sangat penting. Okay, so in the time of money, what we learn, basically we learn about FEIF, then IN. Betul? IN. And then we also have PVIF. IN. And then we have FEIF. A stands for energy, which is just like energy, A. Setuju? But if you look here, okay, we only have several components which we pecah-pecah saja. We have V, and in the case of energy, we have payment, cash flow, and then we have I, and we have N, and then in the case of the compounding is more than once in a year, we have 10. Setuju? Okay, this is neat. Okay. So, now let's take a look at this question. Assume right now we have assume right now you have $1,000. Okay, and then your interest rate, the bank paying you 10%. Okay, and then let's say you want to put your money in the bank for 1 year. So what is your money after 1 year. Of course, you need to find the future variable. Okay, remember that you now are senior, you are in your senior years. I assume that you should be able to calculate this straightforward. Within this 1.1, that's the use factors. So how to do it? How to do that? Okay, is use this formula FV. Okay, this is the exact formula. Okay, and then you can press X over here. It's a function. FV, FV. Okay. Okay. Then it asks you what is rate. Okay, what is rate? Okay, read bawah sini. Rate is the interest rate per period. For example, 6% divided by 4 for quarterly payments, that's 6% APR. Okay, so rate is given 10%, so take 10. Okay, and then NPER is the total number of payment period in the investment. Okay, in the case of there's only one payment per year, and it's this one. Okay, so just click that and payment. So payment is the payment made each period. Payment made each period. Remember that payment is only for annuity. Annuity. What is annuity? Annuity is a series of equal payments. A series of equal payments. For example, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, that becomes an annuity. However, it is 1,000. Then year 2 tak ada, year 3 1,000, year 4 tak ada, year 1,000. Even though it is equal payment, but it is not in a series. Jadi tidak berturut-turut. Maka it is not an annuity. It is not an annuity. Okay? Ataupun 1,000 and then 1,001, then 1,002, 1,003. Okay, even though that is continuous, berturut-turut, tetapi the amount is not equal, that is also not an annuity. Not an annuity. Jadi you must be clear on the definition of annuity. Okay, jadi payment hanya untuk annuity. In our case, in this example, it is not an annuity, it is just a simple payment. So ignore, biarkan annuity payment ni kosong. But because you want to find future value, now PV is given. So PV is 1,000, this is 1,000. Okay, dapat dah 1,100. Sudah tak? Okay, now this is just how Excel design this formula. You will see it as a negative because it assumes it is a payment. Okay, you keluar dari sini macam tu masa dah negatif. Jadi to remedy that, untuk menghilangkan masalah ni, what I normally do is before the formula FV, before the F, I just put a negative sign. Letak dia simbol negatif, then it will use the percent. There. Okay. So if you don't know how to do it, let's say you want to do it manually, you can see that 1,000 times 1 plus this one to the power of 1, is it? So this is how we do it. Kita akan dapat 1,100. Tapi that is how if you type the formula manually. Okay, but you don't have to. Okay, that is finding FV. But now what if we know that so what if we know that the value of future in the future is 1,100, and then we have the same information. So we want to find what is the present value. Okay. So same thing, we use the formula present value. Okay. This time I will not open this dialog. I just type it by reading it here. So it is PV. So rate, we get the rate. So the rate here, comma, and per number of period. This is 1, comma. Payment. I don't have any payment. I just press comma lagi. And then I leave it blank. But the future value, what is the value in the future? This one. Okay, then close the bracket. Okay, as usual, this is 1,000, so put the sign in front. Baru the first okay, clear? Boleh? Clear? So far so good. Okay. Now, there's a sini ada something. Hujung ni type, betul? Hujung tu ada type. Okay, type is either 0 atau 1. Okay. So if you want to read it, you can look here what is the type. Okay. Type says if the payment is at the beginning of the period, if it is an annuity due. Okay. Annuity due dia adalah 1. You kena letak 1. Kalau you do it blank, like what I did just now, ataupun you state 0 atau nombor 0, then it is considered as ordinary annuity. Okay. So just go okay. Yeah. Okay. Any questions so far? So far so good. Boleh follow lagi? Boleh eh? Okay. Now let's take a look at payment. Okay. Now let's take a look at payment. The payment juga. And the payment. So this is fine. So we will do the present value annuity block. Okay, in the case of annuity, okay, we don't have present value, we don't have future value. What we have is the series of payment. Okay, assume, okay, assume the payment is 100. Okay, assume the interest rate is similar, it's maintained. Okay, so and assume dia takkan satu. Okay, kalau satu, you will get the same answer as the normal future value. Okay, so at P, rate is 10%. Okay, the number of period is 1. Okay. But the payment is this payment. Okay. Then we don't have PV because PV is not relevant for an annuity question. And then we assume that it is just a normal annuity. Okay, so this is an ordinary annuity, so this is a bracket. So letak like this. Okay. Okay. Jadi akan satu. Jadi future value, okay, kita letak kata tadi becomes 610.5. How can you get this 610.5? Let's do this. Let's do this manually. Okay. So for this, when the question asks you what is the future value of an annuity, what you will see is this is the cash flow. Okay? This is the cash flow. And then when we ask you what is the future value of an ordinary annuity at the end of year 5, what you will see is you will have this multiplied by, let's say it's using 10%, 1.1, it will be to the power of, okay, to the power of, it will be, if it is at the end of year 5, it will be 5 minus, okay, 5 minus whatever year you are at now, okay, there is a and then for the second year, it will be that. And then for the 5th year will be that. Okay, this is how it is calculated about future value. Jadi at the end of year 5, okay, at the end of year 5, saya dah minta dekan tukar produktor baru di InsyaAllah yang Juni akan dapat tu, tak tahu lah. Okay, masih menunggu sumbangan daripada orang kaya sebab masih tidak perlukan. Okay, jadi to get the future value manually, you will be sum this up, you will akan dapat 610 or 51. Okay, faham? So remember that this is for ordinary annuity. Okay, kalau cari future value untuk tahun ke-5, dia 100 akan tetap jadi 100. Kenapa? Because 100, okay, bayang at the end of year 5, you want to find the value at the end of year 5. This cash flow is ordinary annuity. Ordinary means that hujung period, betul? Jadi, that 100 at year 5, you actually receive at the end of year 5. And you want to find the value at the end of year 5. Jadi, sebab tu, yang ni, value dia tetap jadi 100. Okay? Jadi, dapat total 610.51. Jadi, sama tak dengan jawapan? Sama tak jawapan tadi, sama dengan 610.51. Betul? Exactly the same, right? And then, but what if you want to find the present value? Okay? Using same example. Okay, you want to find the present value. So, present value sama ke PV, open bracket, rate is 10%, number of periods is 5, and then the payment is 100, and then close the bracket, okay. Contoh dia pun value sign, atau 379.05. That is the present value of annuity. Okay, jadi kalau untuk present value, so kalau PV, you will see ada 100, this is the cash flow, you divide by 1.1, then to the power of revenue is in. Okay, so you do that for me. So present value of this annuity is supposed to be here. Okay, PV annuity, the value will be sum of all this cash flow. 379.09. Good? So this is how you do it manually. Okay? Kalau ada adik-adik pun biasa buat, okay, you pakai yang ini. Okay? But we are in financial modeling class, we use the Excel built-in formula. Okay? Clear? Okay. What about? Okay, what if? Okay? Kenapa saya letak sini dekat sini? Because the value that we got here is actually at year 5, and this is present value. The value that we got for present value is at year 0. It's at year 0. This is simplified. Okay. Jadi contoh, what if I change the question? Katakanlah this FBA, okay, for future value, assume it is an ordinary, it is an annuity due. So for an annuity due, what you need to do is that you just have to multiply by 1 plus the interest rate. The interest rate is 10%, so that will be 10%, 1 plus 10%, you akan dapat 61.56. Okay. And then for this one, same thing with present value, you also just have to multiply by 1 plus 10%, which is the interest rate, and it becomes an annuity due. So with the annuity and the difference is just multiplied by 1 plus 9. Itu sahaja. Okay, so this is the answer. But this is, we do it manually. But what if we want to use the Excel built-in formula? Okay, for the Excel built-in formula, of course, it's easier because here you just have to amend the formula, tukar formula ni. Jadi PV, koma lagi, type beginning of the period is the annuity due. So letak 1. Enter dapat 671.56. Sama tak 671.56? Sama ke? Exactly the same, 671.56. Sama ke? Okay, satu lagi. For this one, PV, simple, koma, dan koma lagi, then type beginning of the calculate manually, and the other one we calculate using the given formula. All that you need to know is how to use the formulas properly. Clear? Okay. Okay. Ada soalan? Ada? So this is basics of jadi contoh, what about an uneven cash flow? For an uneven cash flow, contoh you'll be using the same example. Will be modified. Let's say this is 100, 200, 300, and 400, and then 500. Katakanlah macam ni. So this is not an ordinary annuity, but this is not an ordinary annuity. This is a normal cash flow. So kalau biasanya, if you do it on your own, you will have to calculate it manually, satu. Okay, then if you try to use this formula, PV. Okay, contoh nak cari present value lah. Okay, rate is 10%, the number of period is 65. Okay, but then you see, this is payment, so ada macam-macam. You just highlight everything, and then you just close the bracket, enter. Dia akan jadi macam ni. So dia salah. Okay. Jadi dia jadi salah. Sebab dia baca this is one payment, this is one payment for 5, this is one payment for 5 years, this is one payment for 5 years, this is one payment for 5 years. Jadi salah. Betul. So macam mana nak buat bagi betul? How to make it correct? Okay. Cara dia adalah, okay, if you watch the recordings, ada satu chapter, satu recording pasal capital budgeting techniques, okay, satu recording, tonton di situ. Jadi remember that NPV, net present value, sebenarnya adalah present value. Why the term net kita letak? Because when something is net, dia telah ditolak dengan sesuatu. Contoh net income. What is the income? The income is basically sales minus cost. Okay. Kalau sales tidak tolong dengan cost, dia akan jadi sales. Tapi basically it is an income, tapi it is not net income. This is capital company, not net income. Okay. Jadi untuk net present value, the formula that we use is NPV. Okay. So, and untuk contoh soalan NPV, normally dekat year 0 we will have satu duit yang keluar. There will be some negative cash flow. Jadi katalah kat sini negative 350. Okay. So for NPV question, what we will do is that we use this formula NPV, assume rate is 10%, and value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We just have to highlight whatever value. Do not include the value in year 0. Okay, you can only for NPV you can only include value from year 1 onwards. 1 onwards. So highlight value from year 1 to year 5. Close the bracket. Lepas tu tambah. Okay, why tambah? Because this is already negative, so just tambah this one, and you will get this value. So this should be the lowest. Okay, dapat 715.26. Okay, if you use this formula, 715.26. So because it is greater than 0, so we accept the project. Okay, faham clear? Now, okay, tengok betul. Kalau kita tidak tambahkan dengan NPV at year 0, kalau kita tidak tambahkan dengan the negative initial update, we don't add the initial update. What we have here is actually the present value, okay, the present value of all these cash flow. Yang ini saya buang dan MVTQ. See, sama tak jawapan? This one and this one. Sama betul? Okay, betul. Jadi for an uneven cash flow, untuk cash flow yang tidak sama, if you want to find the present value, you can always borrow the formula of NPV. Okay, formula for NPV clear. So let's do this. NPV tambahnya, let's do a proper NPV because NPV adalah an application of time value of money. Okay. So 717.26. Okay. So this is our NPV. Now, what if I want to find IRR? So this is NPV. What if I want to find IRR? NPV. Okay. So IRR is, there's an Excel formula, IRR. Okay. So for IRR, you just have to highlight everything, including the value of A0, the one that you see there sign. Okay, you can highlight everything including A0 and close the bracket. Then you see that your answer is 56%. Okay, 56%. Jadi, okay, clear? Okay, but what this comes out with IRR. Okay, look. So for NPV, if we change rather than 10%, we use the rate of IRR. Okay, apa jadi dekat NPV? Kalau kita guna rate IRR, what will happen to NPV? Bonus atau apa? What happened to NPV? We use IRR as the discount rate. 5, 4, 3. Zero. Masak tadi untuk mana?
Ya.
Akan jadi zero. Itu be zero. Macam tu dah hidup. Peluang tidak datang betul. Bila datang, grab. Okay. Ambil tak peluang. Okay. Jadi, if I take this figure, copy, I paste it somewhere. This 0.5533 something. If I copy this value, okay, and then I put it here, dekat sini. Rather than 1.1, I change the formula to be 1 plus this, close the bracket, okay. It will become 350. Kenapa 350? Sebab belum tolak lagi dengan initial outlay. Okay. Belum tolak lagi dengan initial outlay. Okay. Kalau ni saya letak sini, ini here, and then present value is this, the sum of everything, including this. This one will become a value that is very small. So we see that it is 0. Okay. So that is this basically asas kepada time value of money lah. Okay, so with this we can spend whatever okay. Okay, now let us look at the highlights of the day. Amortization schedule. Okay, amortization schedule. Okay. Saya kata schedule sebab schedule is the way as pronounced. Okay. Sebab cikgu saya kat sekolah dulu, dia graduated from Michigan State University. Jadi dia belajar, jadi dia dari US, dia ajar dictionary English, dia ajar cakap schedule. Jadi kalau dia panggil schedule. Whichever suits you. Okay. Dan apa schedule dia dah. Okay. Okay, reducing balance. Okay, so here we have 4 types, 4 ways to calculate load amortization. Biasa belajar satu jenis betul? Belajar 4. Okay. Jadi yang ni, all that you need to know is how it is designed. Okay. At this stage, ni dah penghujung semester. At this stage, you should be able to see how it is designed. Senang. Okay. Dalam financial modeling, paling penting adalah clarity. Clarity itu maksud apa? You are very clear on how your model will look like. Kalau you don't know how your model will look like, jadi memang susah. Okay, faham? Jadi contoh macam for this amortization schedule, kita dah tahu lah, actually dah tahu amortization schedule. So all that we need to know is, all that we need to do next is properly design. Okay, but a normal amortization schedule ada N, payment, interest, and then we have principal and balance lah. Okay, that's all. Okay, and then sometimes we also have cumulative principal paid individual. Okay, tapi yang percentage, interest, percentage principal, cumulative principal paid, okay, all these sebenarnya adalah untuk to help me design this graph that you see here. Okay. Okay. So, number one, we look at this reducing balance. So, this reducing balance adalah yang paling asas sekali. The most commonly used amortization schedule for the public. Okay? For the public, example kita pergi ke dekat bank, when we ask for the bank for loan, mereka bagi start of schedule lah. Tetapi bank tidak akan bagi schedule, the whole schedule. What bank will give is actually only the payment. Okay? Contoh kita nak pinjam, contoh macam in this case, okay, look at the information that you need to know. In any loan, number one is you need to know what is the size of the loan. Itu banyak mana dipinjam. In this case, it is 100,000. Number two, what is the interest rate? Interest rate in this example is 5%. Number three, how long the loan will be. Okay, contohnya adalah 120 months. Okay, and number four, what is the monthly payment? Look at monthly payment. Monthly payment, we use the payment formula. Okay, in Excel, we have this dedicated formula for payment. Okay, tadi kita cari PV, cari FV, then we use NPV, IRR. Now, there is a dedicated formula to use payment. But basically, kalau kita nak kat sini pun, if we go back to the basics, okay, if you know for example this one, okay, if you already know the PV, you already know you don't know the payment, you know I, you know N. All that stuff is just you have to find the payment. Betul? Contoh, kita ambil contoh sini. Okay, this is the value. Okay, then this is the percent interest, then 5. Okay, what is the payment? Of course, you already know because it is from the previous question. Jadi, itu yang dijelaskan. Okay, what is the rate? Rate is 10%. What is the number of period? Number is 5. What is the present value? The value is 416. Okay, ada yang lain ada. Okay, jadi kenapa jadi 110? Sebab okay, bila bayar loan, ke sewa, you duduk rumah, dulu baru bayar sewa atau bayar sewa dulu baru beli? Duduk. Bayar dulu kan? Bayar baru. Jadi sebab tu in such case, it is actually an MBTV. Jadi sesuatu kat sini kena dapat satu. Dapatlah satu. It is actually an MBTV. Okay, faham? Okay, tapi untuk bank, untuk bank dia jadi balik dekat sini, so balik dekat sini, kita assume this is ordinary annuity. Sebab kenapa? For bank loan, kita dapat dulu loan tu, tapi lepas tu next month baru kita bayar. Next month baru kita bayar. Betul? Kita tak bayar macam hari ni dapat, kita buat siap-siap sebulan. Tak. Kita bayar ni. Ujung bulan bayar, lepas bulan bayar. Okay? So that's how they calculate. Okay, so number of period is just 120 given this information. PV, okay, tengok saya dekat sini. For PV, I letak -1. Kenapa I letak -1? Because of the way Excel show. Macam tadi, we put equal and then you put negative sign, betul? With negative and then PV. Jadi untuk payment, we need to do that as well. We need to put negative sign and then we letak the value. Okay? So then okay, kita dapat jawapan 96. Okay, we start off with, then we prepare the schedule. All that we need to know is the header, apa header kita nak letak. And then we start with month 0. Okay, month 0 is when we got the money. Okay, kita dapat mula-mula itu pada month 0, dapat duit 100,000 lah. And then we pay every month 1,060 at the end of the year. We need to freeze the pay. View, freeze pay. So at the end of the period, kita dapat kosong. Di sini wajib kosong. Meaning that you have settled your loan. Okay, and the cumulative principal rate must be 100% because you have paid everything. Okay, so if you look at this one, the reducing value story. So, if you look at reducing balance, the total interest rate is 27,278. Tengok dekat constant interest. Also 27,000. Tengok dekat rule of 78. 50,000. Tengok dekat bond. 50,000. So, suatu ketika dahulu tu tak lama sangat. Okay, about 10-15 years ago, masa saya betul kat Bank Rakyat, dan dia pakai Islamic system. Kita pun tak tahu, tapi itu je yang dia suruh. Dia kata, okay, salam, saya sudi terima loan pada ni akan dibayar dengan cara rule of 78. Okay, rule of 78. Tapi once I go further, we know that rule of 78 adalah sangat melindas. Sebagai contoh, remember that interest adalah profit for the bank, okay, but cost for us. So, when under rule of 78, okay, the interest payment that we have to pay is 50,000. Under reducing balance, the interest that we have to pay is just 27,000. Hampir satu kali gaji yang lebih banyak. Betul? Okay, jadi baru-baru ni, I think last year, last year, kalau tak last year, last 2 years, kalau tak 2025, 2024, Bank Negara baru sahaja kata banks are no longer allowed untuk mempraktiskan rule of 78 dekat mana-mana produk. Okay? Sebab dekat Malaysia ni, even though setengah Islamic Bank, dia kata Islamic Bank tapi dia tetap menggunakan rule 78 dulu sekarang tak kira. So semua pakai reducing balance. Okay. So this is how it is designed. Okay. If you want to look at how this graph is designed, macam the graph is designed, and you will see that the blue part, the blue part represent the profit for the bank. Okay. Jadi lebih besar percentage dia, lebih besar area dia, maka lebih besar profit for the bank. This is reducing balance. If you look at this one, this is constant. In terms of jumlah sama je, tapi in terms of ada tak yang pakai constant ni? Kalau ada kebanyakan kereta pakai high purchase ad, dia bayar macam ni. So let's say you use your car for like 5 years and then you settle, you will see this type of calculation. Dia boleh cakap ni, tapi nak cakap ni, the longer, okay, the example that I show you is actually for 120 months. Okay, kalau contoh a higher value property, contoh macam rumah satu berapa? 400,000 kan? Dan rumah punya pinjaman bukan 10 tahun. Pinjaman rumah lebih kurang 20 tahun, 25 tahun, 30 tahun, okay? Tapi the longer the period, you can play around with the neighbor. Semakin panjang tempoh, the profit, okay, the profit for the bank akan jadi sangat besar. Okay, akan jadi sangat besar, and you will see that jumlah yang dibayar, especially dekat mula-mula, dia akan jadi sangat kecil. Okay, sangat kecil. Sebab tu, okay, because I had to raise this issue sebab as a student of finance, you will hear sometimes netizen akan complain. Kadang-kadang ada tu kecoh. Saya dah bayar rumah ni 10 tahun. Rumah saya beli harga 400,000. Lepas 10 tahun bayar, loan kena 25 tahun. Lepas 10 tahun bayar, loan 400,000, tinggal 380,000. Jadi 10 tahun bayar sebulan 2,000, sebulan 2,000 bayar. 2 months, every month you pay 2,000. Lepas 10 tahun, baru tolak 20,000 je. So masih lagi hutang dengan bank 380,000. Okay, kenapa? Sebabnya adalah because of this slanting punya structure. Bank akan makan dulu the profit, barulah tolak principal, especially in the early years. Jadi you can play around, you can dekat sini, rather than this is 120, make it into 20 tahun, 240, ataupun longer, 25 tahun. And you will see macam mana besarnya the blue area akan increase. The blue area akan increase. Okay, so okay, last. Kita tengok actual amortization schedule. Contoh Bank Islam loan table. Okay, so this is from website. Okay, saya tak apa-apa. This is just me. Okay, let's say kita ambil ni with standing instruction. Standing instruction adalah arahan pembayaran. So maksudnya potongan bulanan. Okay, kalau kita tengok, because we are using 100,000, if you look here, dekat sini, untuk 10 tahun, 1119.27. Okay, this is it, 1119.27. This is the monthly installment. Maksudnya 10 tahun pinjam 100,000, bayar 9,119. So if we go to the reducing balance table, pinjam 100,000, however payment adalah 1119.27. So use the knowledge that we learned in Excel in this class. Analysis goal C. So I want to change this payment. Fill pada value 1119.27. Okay, by changing cell, interest rate. Okay, tukar interest rate dan kita dapat, okay, dan kita dapat this one. This is the value 6.18008. Okay, 6.18%. However, if you look at Bank Islam punya ni, dia kata berapa interest rate ni? Interest rate dia adalah 3.43%. However, kalau baca betul-betul, dia kata it is actually kadar terapung bersama kadar, okay, dia kata bersama kadar tetap setahun 3.43%. It is actually kadar apung setahun KAS tambah dengan 3.43%. Faham? Jadi bila kita dapat, when we got this value 6 point something, okay, so if I minus this, minus with 3.43%. Kita akan dapat 2.75%, betul? So basically, the kadar apung setahun adalah 2.75%. Kalau kita tanya, what is kadar apung setahun? Apa tanda Google? See, berapa? 2.75%. So this is the rate that is practiced. Jadi sebab tu bila kita tengok dia kata saya murah je, saya bila 4%, 2%, wala 5%, okay? Don't think. Okay? Sebelah ada ni tunjuk berapa dia boleh tambah. Ha? Okay. Jadi basically 2.75% lah yang ditetapkan oleh Bank Negara. Okay. Kita berbakti 3% adalah kadar profit tambahan yang kita boleh back. Faham tak? So this is how we can use it. Okay? Extend lagi display lah. Okay? Ini berguna untuk kehidupan kita. Okay, terima kasih. I'll see you on Thursday. Okay? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you.